many nonprofit organizations during 2020 having to search for ways to generate awareness and raise vital funds, in our case for children, because of the fact that no in-person events were no longer really a possibility of the pandemic. Obviously, we had to look at other ways that we could kind of pivot, and we were very fortunate to come about this concept of doing a virtual race, which allows anybody all over the world to be able to participate in this virtual race by using technology, using wearable devices that allows you to participate in this virtual race anytime, anywhere, wherever you are, day or night, and help to raise funds using your voice. And really through that Shayun and I were able to connect was through technology, and why not use it for a force for good. And last summer, we had the opportunity to do our first virtual race that we had ever done, and it was absolutely a resounding success, because we did have we had more than 7,000 backers from all over the world that were participating, reaching out to their friends and family on social media, getting people to pledge their support, and through that support, we say that for every $25 you're helping to protect another child from abuse. And so think about what that can do, and just using your voice. And we had people, children, and teenagers that were coming out to support us, because they might not have the financial wherewithal, but they do have the voice, and they have the ability to navigate technology. And if they can do that, imagine what we can accomplish.
Hello, you guys. Can you hear me okay? Because I was having audio. I guess you can if you can hear the phone. So that's good. Yes, thank you. I'm in Clubhouse right now, and we are talking about
one of the things that I'm trying to do is
a new technology that is being used to track down
what we call campus initiatives,
to track down sexual abuse predators who are specifically targeting children. And we're having that conversation about efforts that this Light Force Center is using to make a difference. And if you're interested in taking part in that at all, please send me a message. I'm more than happy to send the information. They're talking about a virtual race that obviously we can't do like a 5K with a whole bunch of people at the same time. But if you wear a wearable device and you want to participate in a race to help raise awareness and money for this cause to help save our children, that is what we're talking about right now. So yes, all of those hashtags that you threw out there, James, thank you for doing that. Hashtag voice, hashtag technology, hashtag success, hashtag virtual race, hashtag use your voice, all of that. And thank you again for doing that.
Do to generate more support, whether it's maybe choosing Child Rescue Coalition to be your charity of choice on Amazon. We have Amazon Smile, where a portion of your whatever you're purchasing on Amazon could go towards supporting Child Rescue Coalition. It might be getting on our newsletter. It could be buying something at our merchandise store. It could be signing a petition that we've created to help ban the sale and distribution and production of child sex dolls, which many of you might not be aware there are only 3 states in the United States that actually have laws prohibiting this. And so we're trying to generate more support around this concept about getting legislators to understand where this sale and distribution of child sex dolls has shown to be something that is leading towards predators doing more of the things that they're doing. And so,
you guys, that goes back to just even not being connected online. This is about a parent or a mother just uploading a photo of their child, and you have predators taking that photo and turning them into sex dolls. Like, that's how bad it is right now. So there's many ways to get involved, right, Alex? Thank you so much. Again, everybody.
Just to let you know, so the race, just the last thing, so the race just started last week, but it's running all the way until March 10th. So there's plenty of time for anybody that's on this call to get onto onto the race. So definitely look at that as a way to show your support.
So I brought Marlene up here because of the topic, sex trafficking. Marlene is the amazing guardian angel that I met probably 14 hours ago in the room, who's come around to work with me in getting Maya stabilized. And I want her to share her testimonial and what an amazing inspiration she is to all of the women in this room. And what an amazing woman she is to the world. So Marlene, meet Alexander and Shayun, my lovely partners.
Oh, I love you, Paul. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much. I feel blessed and honored to be here with you tonight. So my story is.
Oh no! What happened?
Oh, you muted yourself, Marlene. Marlene, you muted yourself.
Leaving us hanging, Marlene. Just hit the microphone and we can hear you.
Maybe her phone died and she'll come back in. It looks like her phone must have died.
Okay.
There she is. She's there.
She's back.
Oh, that means that someone's calling her and she's getting a call. That's what it is. So she'll pop back in a second.
No, hashtag muted.
Marlene,
I
we
want
did
to
a
hear her
beautiful
story.
healing with her, Raven saying, and I met this heart healer, energetic heart healer. This probably a 70-year-old lady, I think from Japan. She lives in San Francisco, and we all spent a lot of time this morning. We pulled an all-nighter, and she's already been activated now with me, working with Maya to get her housing situated. And she has an amazing foundation. What she shared is she has a place that she just closed escrow on that has 36 beds in Ohio for mothers, like a shelter type of situation. She now works with the White House. She has people with the CIA working with her. But I really want her to give her testimony herself. And I guess I'll just go on mute until she comes back.
And in the meantime, while she comes back, what we will be doing, so we're kind of breaking this down into 3 hours. We did our first hour, and we are going to transition into the past life regression and live healing. And then after that, we'll move into sharing people's experiences, and that really turns the energy around, and we can kind of go deep into what everybody has experienced. And the whole point of this every week is us coming together to create community around healing, growth, and transformation. And so this is really, we welcome everybody here to share their stories as it relates to that and support with everybody on their journey. So thank you guys for being here. And Marlene's back. We're passing it over to you.
Just really fast, you guys. I just want to let you know Spencer just joined the app, and I think he joined us in the room.
I see him.
Spencer?
I see him, but let's focus on this because it's really important.
So I don't know what you guys hear. Did you hear anything at all?
Nothing at all, Marlene.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Okay, so I am a survivor of domestic minor sex trafficking. I don't call myself a survivor. Survivors do what they do, and that's try to survive. So I am a survivor. I was kidnapped when I was 15 years old as a virgin girl, raised in church, 2-parent household. I'm the youngest of 5 siblings, and people told my parents that it should have never happened to me based on what I just said. However, it still did. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, in 2008, I opened up a shelter for victims of sex trafficking, and it was just an amazing journey where there's some articles, television, all kinds of stuff on us that you can just Google my name and you'll find those things. And then in 2013, we got licensed to house children. And so we are licensed for kids ages 11 to 17. And 3 weeks ago, just about 3 weeks ago now, we have a 32-bed property on 9 acres of land where we are going to do a greenhouse. We're going to teach women how to grow their own food.
Amazing.
That program right there is all about about education and entrepreneurship. And I'm really, really hoping that I can get some of you entrepreneurs to mentor some of the ladies that will be in that program. And one of the Annie Casey Foundation just came out with a report that said there's 2 things that will help alleviate or
I love you guys
sex
saying hey to
trafficking
each
in
other
our
in the
country,
chat. This is
and that's education and
awesome.
entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Bernard.
Entrepreneurship absolutely saved my life.
And hello and
I
welcome.
believe in it wholeheartedly.
And
Although I went
I'm
back
glad
to get
that
my
you're doing
education,
well.
I
Yes,
know
hashtag
that with
vertical
some of these
farming.
victims, they may not have the
If you
capacity
guys
to go
remind
to
me,
a
I'll
four-year
send you all
college.
these
And so
connections
we want to
in
teach them how
the
to take care of
Clubhouse
their kids,
conversation
stop
if you're
having to go back
interested, but no
into the life to
pressure.
take care of their
But if it's
basic
something
needs.
that
So
like
that's my
vertical
story.
farming is interested in, you know,
Appreciate
someone who
you
wants to
guys.
live on a commune,
Wow, my
let me know.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And that's a testament to transferring your pain into something that's so powerfully in line with purpose. Could you briefly maybe just talk about what that moment was of transformation? Where was it a shift? Most people go through that dark night of the soul, right? And everything is against them, and they have to dig deep to really push through to begin to re-rise, reborn. What was that moment like for you, Marlene?
Well, I believe that I'm still in that moment, to be just real with you guys. But I can tell you there was 3 things that happened. My grandmother was a little old lady who believed in prayer, and she really put herself in a closet. You ever hear these people that put in the closet? My grandmother really, for real, put herself in the closet, and it was a joke to us kids. But she would go in this closet, and she would be on first name basis with Jesus. So we really laughed at her, like we think she kind of nuts.
That's
And she would quote this scripture: "When the Lord turns again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dreamed the dream." Howbeit that, 9 years later, I would be in captivity.
Understood.
For real. And that's the only thing that kept my mind, because my grandmother would say
that's
when
so
and not if. So I knew that I would live through the experience. But once I got out of that experience, that's when the real work started. Because I had so much trauma, so much shame. So even though it wasn't my fault, I felt the guilt of it all. My father couldn't look me in my face because he thought it was his fault that he didn't protect me. My mother it just ripped our family apart. You know, real talk. It just really did rip us apart. But then I remember I was that person that was living in a car because I didn't want to go home, and I didn't have any money, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. And I wasn't going back to that lifestyle under no circumstances. And so I remember meeting a guy that worked at Nationwide Insurance, and he was the HR director. And he sat me down and he said, "Tell me everything you did in prostitution." Now, I'm probably 18 years old at this time. And I look at him like, "You know what we did? We sold sex." And he said, "No, tell me what you did day to day." So I began to tell him my day-to-day activities. And I'm older, guys. I'm almost 60 years old. So he's typing on a typewriter. And he hands me this piece of paper. I said, "What's this?" He said, "It's your resume. Go get a job." And on this piece of paper, he has customer service, PR, sales and marketing, inventory control. And I'm like, this is not me. He said, yes it is. You just didn't get it in a formal kind of way. And so I teach victims how to use their transferable skills now and monetize them. Because where we thought at one point, you only have a value in between your legs. No, it's between your ears. Let me show you how to monetize that. And there are so many victims of sex trafficking whose destinies, whose lives has been disrupted by this atrocity. And it doesn't have to be an end all at all. In my life, and there are several other survivors of trafficking that are lawyers, that are now doctors, that we can show people this does not have to be an end all. So I've had many of those moments, but thanks for asking that question.
Thank you for sharing, Marlene. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So now, everybody, I think we're going to transition. We're going to transition into doing the life regression and then the live healings. Everybody down for that? Just tap your microphones.
Heck yes.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful. So I won't talk too much because I know everybody just wants to get into it. And I want to make sure that I set this up. Thank you, Aya.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, bless
you, Aya.
That's my son,
Oh,
my
that's
3-year-old
so
son,
cute.
Aya. He's an absolute angel. I love you so much. Thank
Regression.
you for rooting me on.
Thank
So,
you, Bernard. Can you notice
wanna
that
bring
it
this
takes
all
more
back around.
observation than it
Thank
takes
you,
to
everybody, for being
freaking
here.
actually
Thank you
make
for taking
marks?
the time.
Patience is
We
a
are
virtue.
here at the Life Force Center
So I've
to
learned.
help you heal, energize, and grow. Every week, we're kind of bringing different topics and themes, but it's always around the same thing. How do we get back to the heart? How do we get back to that inner light?
Here.
Meditating on light or meditating on love, it's the same thing, and that's within us. It's innate within all of us. It's a frequency.
I'll share
It can
the
be
image so you
measured,
guys
it
can
be
see
felt,
too.
and it's the medicine that heals all. And so we invite everybody here to bring your pain, bring your trauma, bring your experience, and most importantly, bring your love, because that's what we're going to activate here tonight. We're going to activate the heart.
Oops,
We found that it's even more powerful while connected in groups like this. Shannon and I normally do this work one-on-one with individuals, helping them go through the process of healing. And we've seen people heal themselves of everything you could possibly imagine. There's nothing that we cannot heal ourselves from. And that's a message that we really, really, really want to impart upon each and every one of you. And when we look at healing, we have to look in the quantum world. Now, quantum healing is something that kind of gets thrown around. But in our process, which we call light force healing, we use multiple different tools to look at the equation of you from multiple different angles. And so today, we're going to be journeying into the past lives. Now, you might have clicked on this because it sounded interesting or it sounded fun, or you've always wanted to do a past life regression, and that's great. That's your intuition calling you. So welcome to this. And we want to take it a step deeper, because maybe you've explored past life before. Maybe you've always felt that there's something calling you from the past that is maybe perhaps not allowing you to move forward in the present, is preventing you from manifesting your future, or is literally a pain or a suffering or an ailment or an issue that is connected to something that you're dealing with now. And I'll use a little anecdote. What we
Thanks
do
for the new appreciation, Bernard.
And most people, when I say most people, can heal themselves of all things within that amount of time. It's about 4 to 7 weeks. You can heal yourself of anything. And what we do is we map the whole entire emotional spectrum of the individual in this current lifetime. That means from the time that you were a child, from what you can remember, and most importantly, what you can't, through different modalities of accessing the subconscious mind, we're able to pull out all of that subconscious suppressed trauma. So this could be sexual abuse as a child. Many victims of abuse can't remember their childhood or up to a certain point when the trauma happened. And that is a protective mechanism that's put in place in order to protect the individual, because you would not be able to live with the trauma most of the time, right? It doesn't have to be sexual abuse. It could be multiple forms of physical, psychological abuse, these types of things that unfortunately most children go through, it seems. And what we do is we work on the subconscious to pull this stuff out, because the subconscious, let's just call it, has the answers to all things. It has your whole records. Yep. It's what you access at night when you're sleeping.
Yep.
It's that intuition that's telling you to make that phone call, or to go left, or to go right, or to click into this room right now because we're feeling called. It's that guiding force that's with us. And there's many different things at play on the quantum level, right? We are connected, number one, in space and time, which is why the healing works like this on an app or over a Zoom call just as effectively as it does in person, which has been something that the pandemic has opened up our world of helping others heal at the Light Force Center. So it's been a blessing to see how these modalities can really evolve. And so when we cleared the lifetime of an individual first, let's just say we've mapped your whole entire life, you cleared all the traumas, meaning you can look at father and mother and abuser and self with nothing but love and forgiveness that's healed, and you're still dealing with an issue that hasn't been resolved. We then look into the past. Okay, maybe there is some karmic ties, some ancestral connections, some things that have not been cleared up that need to be cleared up in order for you to progress. people have phantom pains, for example, from wounds that they suffered in war. There's this one individual who I was working with. He was working at the top biohacking clinic in London. And I love biohacking and biohackers because the science and the biology of how we, and the chemistry of how we work is a divine machine. But oftentimes, if we're just focused on the physical and we do not account for the spiritual, you don't get healing. Case in point, this incredibly smart individual who had all the boxes checked as it relates to his physical health, had this groin injury that would not heal. He had torn his ligaments at the gym. And he was about ready to go in for surgery because he tried everything. He'd done, green juice enemas and 1,000-day fasts and, stood on his head and different yoga poses, and nothing was happening or helping. And he said, I'm going to have to go in and get surgery. And I said, well, why don't we just do a session and we'll go down into the quantum world. Yeah. We'll explore your past and see if there's a connection there. And he had lived this life as a squire to this medieval knight. Now, this sounds just crazy, right?
No, it doesn't.
Something that's just made up.
I mean, not to me, and maybe to y'all.
It turns out that he had lived a life of suppression, essentially as this guy's slave and servant. And he ended up taking his frustration and his suffering out on the wife of his son. And he did these horrific things to the wife of his son. And he's just viewing this life and he's experiencing it for the first time while in this state. And then the son ends up coming up to him, and again, this is in his regression, and ends up stabbing him in the groin, and he bleeds out to death. Now, this sounds horrific. It gets better, I promise. He didn't have to experience the trauma again, which was nice, but what he realized was that wound was from a past life. Now, fast forward into this life, this incarnation was playing out in his current life, where he wasn't doing horrific things, but he was feeling this suppression in his life as it related to a different figure who he was working with. And it was causing him so much turmoil that no matter what he could do, he couldn't get over this. Well, he drew that past life connection. He forgave and we cleared the past life karma, and he was able to resolve the issue with the individual in his current life amiably, and the wound healed. And it healed almost instantly, and he didn't have to get the surgery. So this is just one example. There are an infinite amount of stories, and I liken you to open up your heart, open up your mind, and as we go into this, let the monkey mind just disappear. You can judge it later. You can ask questions later. We're going to open up the floor after the fact so that we can all share our experience. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by physically relaxing the body. We're going to open up all the meridians of the body, which is going to allow us to get ready for travel. I'm going to take you into the past, and we are going to